as you swing back, feeling like a little shift forward, then pivot around that left leg, and you'll see that nice mid-flight trajectory, a couple of bounces and check nice and close to the pin there, a little bit of a lower launch on that one. All right guys, so if you're wondering how to hit that stock tour pitch, that nice mid-flight pitch into the green that stops pretty quick, then today's video is really going to help. I'm Danny Malcolm, thank you so much for joining me today. We're here at the beautiful Western Australian Golf Club. I'm going to dive into the key numbers. I've got the help of Trackman here just to show you the impact conditions that the best players in the world have for that stock tour pitch shot, and then some key swing thoughts, some setup ideas that's really going to help. So when we talk about that stock pitch, you see the pros launching it low to sort of medium height, a couple of bounces in, it stops pretty quick. The reason they like to launch it a little bit low to mid-flight is because they can control it much better. They can control it much better. If they start to hit it too high with too much loft, launching it too high, the wind, very windy here today, starts to take more control over the ball. It can balloon up into the wind and fall short. So it's really important to hit a certain window and to get that right spin and that right loft delivery. So we're going to hit a few shots here. I'm just going to talk about some of the numbers and what we're looking for. Now I'm going to play just past that flag that we see there on the green, that blue flag, and I'm just going to show you the key ideas and impact. So here with the help of Trackman, the tour pitch, we're looking for an attack angle that's around -5. We're looking to present loft of 15 degrees less than what the club is. So I've got a 54-degree club here, wedge. So we're really trying to take around 15 degrees of that off. So effectively aiming for around 40-degree dynamic loft at the point of impact. Hopefully that's going to launch it in that kind of 30-degree launch window, maybe a touch less. So I'll hit one here and just see what we can start with, and then I'll show you some of the key ideas. So that one there, we've hit down 3 degrees. Loft was a little bit lower than what we'd like. Spin loft a little bit lower. We'd like that typically a bit more closer to 45, and launch angle was a bit low. So I'll hit one again and try and just bring that up a touch. So there we go, closer to that 5-degree attack angle down. There we go, dynamic loft of 40, launching just below that 30-degree window. Nice spin rate there, and obviously the harder or the longer the shot is, the more speed we put into that, the higher the spin is going to be. Now what a lot of amateurs are doing is, instead of having that impact position that delivers us that little bit of shaft lean, that more descending blow, that steeper angle of attack, a lot of amateurs are coming in a bit sweepy, a bit shallow, adding loft, getting this type of idea here. So you see that ball's just ballooned up in the air, it's launched up at 40 degrees. I was actually hitting up on that just to show you lots of dynamic loft, not what you're looking for that tour pitch. So key ideas and setup, guys, we're really looking to get that ball position relatively central relative to your heels, and we're trying to get a bit more pressure forward, so maybe 60, maybe even 70% forward onto that lead side. And one of the key ideas here is to get the loft, you can almost preset that little bit of lean forward at setup, and from here the best players in the world are able to really control their loft. And when it comes to becoming consistent at your pitch shots and distance wedges in general, being able to present the same loft time and time again is key to start with good strike. Then you can start to work on controlling the rotation and the speed at which you move to create a certain distance, but we need that consistent delivery. So we're starting here with a little bit of lean forward, and then as we move back, another key idea is trying to reduce a little bit of that hinge. So we've already got, naturally as we set up, we've got a bit of hinge here, and we just don't want to add too much more, and that's just going to allow us to use our body a little bit more to come through. We're going to rely on less timing, less, the less variables we have, the more consistent we can be with that dynamic loft and low point. So if we're trying to do things with our hands, we're going to present the face more shut, more open, and that starts to play around with that dynamic loft, which is going to affect your smash factor. It's going to affect your overall distance. So guys, that's what we're doing. Set up, ball in the middle, pressure forward. Got a little bit of shaft lean, and then I'm going to try and reduce my hinge and use a little bit more of my pivot to get the ball going out there. So it's here, We'll see with those numbers, 29.5 degree launch angle, 6 down with the attack angle, 42 dynamic loft. Happy with that. That's nice. And so you can really just see, again, with that setup, keep the pressure forward, pivot, and we start to come up and through the shot. Again, a lot of players might stay down on the ball and start to get a bit flicky, hard to control your dynamic loft and low points again. So when we say hitting down on the ball as well, guys, we're not trying to get diggy into the ball. If we start to get a bit sliding a bit this way, it's very easy to get that leading edge digging in and we start to affect the strike. So we actually want to, as you're shifting forward, the best players you'll see in the backswing, they almost get a little shift forward and then they start to just then pivot around that lead side. But you'll see they're coming through and up through the shot, which helps get their club back out of the ground. So yes, at the point of impact it's coming down, but they're already coming up, which gets it back out of the ground and just stops it digging in. So some key ideas there, guys. So setting up again, ball in the middle, pressure forward, presetting the 15 degrees of lean, less hinge and using a little bit more of that pivot to drive it. That lovely little ball turf strike there. Again, 29 degrees launch angle, 4.5 down, 40 degrees of dynamic loft. So you can start to see some consistency here with these swings, spin loft 45. And you'll notice as I come through, I'm getting a little shift forward, but then I'm coming up and around using my pivot to drive things. So from here, little shift forward, and as I'm coming through, I'm coming up and around, chest is coming up and around. That's going to deliver the club down. But I'm not getting big, huge divots. So again, that's 6 degrees down with the attack angle, 43 dynamic loft, a little bit higher spin loft this time. But you can see a pretty consistent launch angle again. Now just be sure, guys, as well, when you're trying to get obviously this spin and this control, the ball of choice, try and pick a premium ball with the urethane cover. These hard balls with the hard covers, you're not going to get that same spin. Ensure, of course, that your clubs are clean and dry, grooves are clear, and wet days you're going to get less spin. If we start to get that, if we start to get the grass caught between the club and the ball, that's going to reduce the spin as well. It's going to affect your launch angle. Think of it, let's say this is wet and I've got less grip. If this is a wet club or dirty club, the ball is going to slide up the face and launch higher with less spin. Whereas when you get that nice strike with a nice clean grooves, you're going to grab the ball, it's going to launch lower with that spin. So just ensure that you do have the right ball, you've got good clean clubs, and then again, ball in the center, pressure forward, less wrist hinge, and I'm going to use that pivot to drive things. You can see that's launched again at a decent window, 3.5 down, 40 degrees of dynamic loft. So you can see some pretty consistent numbers here. And I'm not really looking at your distance at this point. I'm just looking at the impact, but you can imagine when, as a player, when you start to get consistent with this loft that you deliver, you can start to then judge how quick your body moves, your length of swing. Again, pretty consistent loft delivery again there. You can start to manage your distance through those length of swings, quarter swing, half swing, 3/4. Some people use the clock system, some people use the body parts, some people just use the energy, but you start to use it a little bit more with the pivot and start to let that control it. Again, less variables. If we're trying to do it with our hands, we're going to affect loft delivery, we're going to affect low point control. So guys, there's my top tips for that tour pitch, and I really hope that helps. So again, ball in the center, pressure forward. As you swing back, feeling like a little shift forward, then pivot around that left leg. And you'll see that nice mid-flight trajectory, a couple of bounces and check nice and close to the pin there. A little bit of a lower launch on that one. But guys, there you go. There you go. Hope that helps. Hope it's good to see some of the numbers. If you'd like any more tips to improve your game, click the link below. I've got my 5 top tips there. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, post them below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.